Hi, I'm Sean O'Brien, the President and CEO of NatureServe. We are the global leader in the use of science, data, and technology to conserve biodiversity. And I'm here today with Carlos Zambrana-Torrelio, who works with EcoHealth Alliance and is also on the board of NatureServe, to talk about the current situation that we're in with the COVID-19 virus. Thank you, Carlos, for being here. And maybe you could tell us a little bit about yourself and about what EcoHealth Alliance does.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Sean, to talk about this issue. I'm the Associate Vice President for Conservation and Health at EcoHealth Alliance. EcoHealth Alliance is a nonprofit. We've been working on the links between biodiversity and human health for over the past 40 years. And we've been working all around the world and mostly understanding, studying how biodiversity is affected by different anthropogenic activities and how diseases like the COVID-19 can jump from animals to humans. So we've been working on these issues for a long time.
Yeah, so at NatureServe, we've been working to protect biodiversity in the Americas for about 50 years. And there's been, any number of reasons, from just the aesthetic value of species to protecting the health of ecosystems and ecosystem services. And human health has always been a part of why it's important to protect biodiversity. And lately, we've been hearing a lot about the destruction of habitat and how that relates to things like this, the disease jumping from animals to humans. Can you talk a little bit about the role of destruction of habitat and what's happening today?
Sure. Most of the diseases that we know, that emerge into humans come from animals, from domestic and from wildlife animals. These are called zoonoses. And there are around 435 diseases that jump from animals over the past 60 years into humans. And most of these, around 60%, 65% of these spillover events that we call are directly related to land use change. Some form of land use change, for example, deforestation or increase of agricultural activities. And essentially, at the end, what happens is when these activities, human activities are happening, we increase the contact with wildlife. So we are getting more in contact with these animals, and therefore we get more viruses coming from these animals to us. Just to be clear, biodiversity itself doesn't represent a threat to humanity. Is that we humans are getting more in contact, we're destroying the habitat of these animals, and we're getting more in contact with these animals, and that therefore we're getting more diseases into humans.
So Carlos, as you mentioned, this is not the first time that a disease has jumped from animals to humans. And I'm thinking of other scary diseases like Ebola and AIDS and other things. And it's not just land use changes and encroachment on habitat, it's also the wildlife trade and the use of wildlife in different ways.
That's right. Yes. So this is not the first time we've seen this from these epidemics, pandemics coming from wildlife. HIV jumped from primates to humans. Ebola, it's linked to deforestation and jump from bats to humans. In Latin America specifically, we have several different examples of hemorrhagic fevers like hantavirus, or recently in Bolivia, we have Machupo virus that jumped from rodents into humans, causing very quickly high mortality. But it's not just that, it's also the human activities, human practices that are leading to this issue. So the COVID-19, we think we have really good evidence that jump from bats into humans in a wildlife market in China, in Wuhan. So what happens in these places is that we get wildlife from different regions in China, and then people go and buy meat. It's for meat consumption. And then there are several species, different types of animals mixed all together in the same place. So if you can imagine, we have bats, pangolins, sometimes dogs, cats, civets, all different species of domestic and wildlife animals, all mixed together. They don't have necessarily good refrigeration systems. All animals are kept alive there until the moment they are sold into humans. So when they are sold, then it's the moment when the people kill the animal, and all these the blood, all these things get mixed into other animals, and then there is the opportunity for a spillover from of viruses, and that's what we believe that happened this time. And there are two hypotheses that has been discussed. One is jumping from a bat directly to a human, and then the other idea is that it jumped from a bat to a pangolin, which in turn changed a little bit the virus, and it jumped to a human.
Right. So, right now we're talking about things that sound very scary when it comes to biodiversity, but the World Economic Forum estimates that 50 to 70,000 plant species are harvested for traditional or modern medicines. And about 50% of modern drugs have been developed from natural products originally. Can you talk a little bit about the importance of biodiversity as it relates to vaccines and promoting human health?
So we receive so many more benefits from wildlife, from biodiversity in general, that it's very important to clarify that issue. Several treatments for health come from plants. Recently has been discussed that there is a chloroquine medicine that's been used for years to treat malaria, can be used in combination with other medication, can be used to cure or to treat COVID-19. But this quinine come from a plant from the Amazon. So it's important to keep all this biodiversity, but also it's worth to explore all the active principles that are in these plants that can potentially be used for human health.
Right. Yes, it's very exciting to think that there could be some plant out there that's going to provide the cure, and not just in this case, but in lots of cases. So are there, do you have any last thoughts for people when they're thinking about the role of biodiversity in protecting biodiversity and trying to help us prevent this sort of thing from happening again?
Yeah, so I think it's important to clarify a few things. First, we are talking about all the time about the risk of emerging infectious diseases, and it's important to clarify that there are three components of risk. One is what we call hazard. In this case, is biodiversity, but because biodiversity, especially mammal biodiversity, because these mammals are hosts for all these different pathogens, these viruses. But again, the biodiversity is not sick. Mammals are not sick with these viruses. But by itself, biodiversity doesn't represent a risk to humans. It's when we interact with this biodiversity that we get into trouble. The second component is the exposure. Exposure is extremely important, and it's related to human behavior. At the end, we are in this trouble because of human behavior, because our need or our ideas that in China, for example, that is traditional medicine, that this type of food is going to make us healthy, is putting us in danger. But China is not the only place. This happens all around the world. Bushmeat consumption happens in Africa. It happens in Latin America. It happens everywhere. It just happens that this time there's an outbreak in China. By changing human behavior, we will make a big difference in how we handle future epidemics, future pandemics. Finally, there's a third component, which is vulnerability. Vulnerability is referred, and we can understand vulnerability as vaccination, for example. That's why we've been telling people, in this case, people older than 60 years are more at risk because they are more vulnerable to this disease. But in other cases, like Zika virus, we also say children, they are young, 5 years or less age, they are at risk as well because they are developing the immunological system. So vaccination, it's important, not just for COVID-19 that will come very soon, but also for flu, influenza, the regular influenza that's happening every year, but other things that are available, it's important to vaccinate. When we deal with this problem, we need to consider these three components: change on behavior and reduce vulnerability in humans. And those are my thoughts about that.
Right. So thank you for being here today. I was wondering, should people go to EcoHealth Alliance's website for more information?
Yes, please join us. It's www.ecohealthalliance.org, you can see our research, what we are doing in the front line on or finding the next potential disease X that it may jump into humans in the next 10 years.
Well, we're so glad that you guys are out there working on this important issue and trying to help keep us safe. So thanks for what you do, and thanks for being here today.
Thank you so much for the invitation, Sean. Thank you.